Looked like a woman, her hands in front of her, holding the wheel, but it was so dark in there I couldn't see her hands. Only the unmoving stare. A strong feeling of foreboding radiated from the eerie car, and my body begged to turn and run back to the house. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. I walked around the front of the vehicle to the driver's side and held up my flashlight to see them. They didn't turn to look at me, they didn't do anything. My eyes slowly calibrated what was in front of me, and when it finally pieced together, I wanted to scream. The woman was dead, her lifeless eyes frozen on my house, unable to look away. Her throat had been slashed, and the entire car was spattered with blood. Duct tape was everywhere. A single wrap across her forehead to hold her in place, a strip over her mouth so she couldn't speak, and several tight binds around her wrists to keep them to the steering wheel. Her hands had been removed. I called the police, frantically looking everywhere as the world seemed to be caving in on me. An operator picked up immediately, and through my terrified ramble, I subconsciously took in the scene as I explained what was happening. There was nobody in the back seat and no signs of anyone leaving. I started to panic more, looking in the trees and back towards the house, expecting to see someone watching, but there was nobody else, nobody except me and the butchered woman. The operator instructed me to go back inside and lock the doors until help arrived. I sprinted back to the front door, the sounds of my own footsteps haunting me as I made my way back to the porch. Once inside, I slammed the door and locked it, flinching at every sound as the voice on the other line tried to keep me quiet. My heart raced so hard in my chest I thought I would have a heart attack. The police arrived in less than 2 minutes. One car at first, with an officer getting out of the vehicle, gun drawn, then another, then 2 more. The fire department was next, and the wailing siren bled into the barrage of lights that lit up my entire house. It didn't feel safe to be there, even after officers came in and searched the house and scoured the entire property. They didn't find anyone, and the killer didn't leave anything behind. The days that followed blurred together. I had to take some time off work. Between the questioning and my driveway turning into a crime scene, I couldn't go anywhere if I tried. I didn't sleep much. Between the police, a lawyer, and the news crews, I wasn't alone for a while. They searched everything: the basement, the attic, the woods behind my house. They even looked in the crawl space to see if they were holed up in there. There was no evidence left behind, no inclination of where they went either. The killer was never found. I didn't learn much about the woman I found, other than that they suspect she was picked at random on her way home from work. Eventually, things went back to normal, and I was allowed to go back to work. It was a relief to get out of the house. Even after they towed that poor woman's car away, I couldn't help but think of it every time I looked outside. Getting into town and back behind my desk was a welcome distraction, and once I was able to busy my mind, it was easier to pretend it was all just a bad dream. That was, until I was driving home last night. I was about halfway home when I started noticing an odor, like I had driven past some roadkill. I tried rolling up the windows and it got worse, a heavy, rotting smell that made me gag. I realized it was something inside the car. When I pulled over to find it, I looked under the seats and in the trunk, thinking maybe I had left out some raw meat from the last time I went shopping. I didn't find anything, and I found myself scratching my head at a loss until I looked at the glove box and saw it was leaking. When I hit the button and opened it, the scent exploded into the cab, along with a cloud of buzzing flies. Stuffed inside the glove box was the pair of women's hands, decomposed and swelling against the duct tape that wrapped around them.